Hey everyone. Today I'm going to share 8 tips about artifacts and building your characters in Genshin. These are some tips that will hopefully make building your characters easier to do. Also, there are tons of characters and artifact sets, so I can't cover everything in one video. If you want me to go in detail about a specific character, leave a comment and I'll try to explain as best as I can. With that in mind, let's get started. Number 1. When to use crit rate over crit damage. So it depends on your substats, whether you're using a crit rate weapon and if your character ascends with crit rate. Generally speaking, if you are able to reach around 45% crit rate and above, you should use crit damage. Currently, there are 7 characters that gain crit rate from Ascension. I would recommend always using crit damage on them, regardless of your weapon. If your character uses a Favonius weapon, a crit rate circlet is always great. As for being able to reach 100% crit rate, it comes down to preference. It is more consistent, but you won't be hitting that big of a numbers compared to crit damage. It's really up to you, but I would prefer staying at around 60 to 80% crit rate and then using a crit damage circlet. Number 2. Which artifacts to prioritize upgrading? It depends on the character. Generally speaking, you want to upgrade Sands, Goblet, Circlet, Feather, and then Flower. As for the Flower and Feather, they provide flat stats. For most characters, you want to upgrade Flower last, but for HP scaling characters, upgrading Flower first is totally fine. The Feather does not count towards base attack, it adds flat attack to your character. If your characters are low level, then upgrading the Feather first is the better option. Number 3. Upgrading your artifacts to level 20. Now this sounds obvious, but I see a lot of people who don't want to upgrade their artifacts because they don't have good substats on them. While I do understand that it can suck to roll 100 flat defense on your piece, having a level 20 artifact is really good because it allows you to clear domains a lot quicker. For the people who already have solid artifacts, this tip doesn't apply to you, but I still think it's important to keep up on power so that you don't take 2 to 3 minutes to clear an artifact domain. Number 4. Some artifact sets don't stack. So be careful if you build the same artifact set in the same party. For example, 4-piece Noblesse doesn't stack. If you have 2 party members with 4-piece, it only refreshes the duration. The same applies to 4-piece Tenacity. However, these two do stack together, Tenacity and Noblesse. That's because they're different artifact sets, so you can have 40% attack as a buff for your team. Number 5. Try to make goblets your off-piece if possible. Goblets are the only slot where you can have elemental damage bonus. Making it your off-piece allows you to easily slot in other pieces for your characters. Sometimes you will get a piece that is very strong but isn't a goblet. In that case, you should try to get an on-set goblet, though this can be a little bit difficult to do. Number 6. Don't throw away elemental mastery pieces. Elemental mastery is harder to get on artifact pieces, especially on goblets. Here are the rates of getting elemental mastery on a certain piece. Also, with the addition of Dendro and more characters utilizing the stat, it is a good idea to keep the pieces even if they don't have good substats. Elemental mastery is probably something that's going to be valuable in the near future, and probably a stat you want to keep. Number 7. 2-piece sets. 2-piece will usually be weaker than a 4-piece set. For example, 2-piece animal damage bonus and 2-piece 18% attack on Shell will be about 10 to 15% weaker than Vermilion, assuming similar substats. However, it is much more flexible between characters. For example, if you have 2-piece 18% attack, you can give those between a lot of characters, for example, Diluc and Kuching. The only thing you would have to worry about is the elemental damage goblet bonus. Running 2-piece is a good way to have a solid amount of power before trying to farm for a good 4-piece set for a character. Farming a 4-piece set can take a long time, so having a 2-piece set is solid, although it is a little bit weaker. Number 8. Don't be afraid to experiment to see what works for you. While you can't go wrong by following guides, experimenting can lead to fun builds as well as possibly having more ideal setups for your specific party. An example I can give is running 4-piece Archaic Petra on Yunjin. The 2-piece set geo damage bonus is not very useful on her, but the 4-piece Crystallize is pretty good. It allows you to buff your character to have 35% of the corresponding Crystallized shield elemental damage bonus. That is almost the same as a 1000 Elemental Mastery Kazuha, which is pretty good. Experimenting like this allows you to open up new builds to see if anything is more optimal or ideal for your party. But if you don't know what to experiment with, you can always just follow general guides on how to build characters. And those are my 8 tips about artifacts and building characters. If you want more clarification, let me know. There are lots of ways to play Genshin, and how you build your characters is up to you. There is no correct way to build a character. Subscribe for more, and thank you for watching.